gentleman's he writes some good books. The Brotherhood of the Red Nile Series, Dan Perkins at Sanibel.com. He's an author, and according to our executive producer, Frenchie, he's a big thinker. Are you a big thinker, Dan?
I don't know, but that's a big set of boots to fill.
That's what he said, author. I'm looking, author and big thinker. I like big thinkers.
Good. Well, I'll do my best to be big for you.
Tell me what the deal is. In your opinion, Obama won't call the White House, I should say, him included, won't call the terrorists terrorists. Why is that?
That's a wonderful question. It is a question that has been asked 1,000 times.
Well, let's try. I know we're never going to get an answer we like, but let's just play with it for a minute before we move on. Why do you think that is? In your opinion? Honestly, seriously.
In my opinion, I think he's a Muslim.
I think so.
Maybe a closet.
No.
A closet Muslim, but maybe a closet Muslim.
You really do? I think that too. I'm not just saying that. I put it this way: I used to not think that. Wasn't sure, but when I see about what the Muslim brother and how he treats the Islamists, there's got to be something underlying there. It's like he's showing his colors. Something's not really, really right. I mean, these people are to kill us, kill the nation. The borders are open. We know we're going to have an attack. He knows it. I know it. You know it. We all know it. And nothing. I mean, there's something. Again, I don't know what the answer is, but it's amazing. And obviously, no one else in the White House can because they'll get canned. They're all trying to CYA.
The new guy who just came on board, who's the assistant to the press secretary, in his first meeting with the press, said that Al Qaeda are not terrorists; they're armed insurgents.
Right, exactly. They're armed insurgents,
but they're not terrorists.
No,
they're not terrorists, but they're armed insurgents. So, even down to the assistant to the press secretary, still can't figure out what to call these people, and it's amazing. When I'm growing up, I'm an old guy. I'm almost 70 years of age.
Okay.
And when I grew up, we used to hear this little song on the playground. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Yeah, names will never hurt. Of course, sticks and stones will break your bones, but names will never hurt you. Words, whatever names, exactly. Right. Yes.
Words, and so, but apparently, this White House, words are more important than sticks or stones.
But where is it that they are not seeing the light as far as they don't realize it? I don't think Obama's stupid. I don't. I think but the answer to your question, I'm not trying to be big picture. No,
here.
Please go ahead.
No, but it's really very simple. It's the thing that nobody is willing to say is the cause of the problem. Not that he's Muslim. It is his deep-seated commitment to and dedication to political correctness.
So even though... Okay, go ahead.
The political correctness issue has done more harm to France, to England, to Spain, to the United States than any other thing that's happened over the last 25 years.
Couldn't agree with you more. And I guess what bothers a person with common sense, and I won't say I'm the most brilliant guy, but I think I got half a brain in my head, is we don't learn anything from those other countries, and we don't learn from our own history. If we got attacked on 9/11 and you don't do something and you're so lax within the military and our borders, you don't think it's going to happen again, all because you're being politically correct and bodies are going to go flying, and that's okay, but we're going to say, what are you going to say? They were armed chemical insurgents if they take out the water system? I mean, it's beyond belief to me that
when you
go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that to me, again, not that you're looking for violence. A strong-willed president comes up there and says, "See, this is what he lacks: leadership. He might be great in politically correctness. Wouldn't you love for him to say, hey, look, we know ISIS isn't messing around. We know, I'm just in layman's terms, we know they want us dead. We're going to beat them to it." We're going to eradicate them. We're going to knock them out like a bunch of weeds. We can't have them killing our people. We can't have them beheading people. We can't have them coming into our borders. We must stop this cancer. No, and we all know it is. I mean, so that's the thing. He's supposed to protect us. Screw political correctness. He's supposed to protect you and me and your kids or your grandkids and everybody else. That's his job, and he'd rather put a Band-Aid on something and it blows sky high than protect the nation. That's why I really think that he doesn't really see. Here's the thing: he doesn't, and this is just fact. Look, when you're, and I don't mean this, so I think you'll understand where I'm going here. I don't mean anything like this. Just pops. I have a lot of pop-ins. Like when you adopt a child, I'm just saying, you're going to love them, of course, love them. This is just an opinion I've always had, and I have nothing. I think it's great if you can't have kids. But when they're yours, it's just human nature. And I say it because, oh, no, you're crazy. It's a different kind of love. I'm not saying you don't love them. You know, it's your years. You know, it's the same thing with this country. He wasn't raised here. You know, he's not part of this. His fabric isn't woven, you know, through our society. Okay? He just doesn't have any, you know, like the Kishkis, the innerness that, you know, this great like nation. He doesn't have an attachment to it because he wasn't here. He doesn't even know what the hell it is to be an American.
Well, I understand what you're saying, and I think not only are what you're saying is somewhat true. Understand that the people who raised him, the people who had the greatest amount of influence on him as a person as he was growing and developing, have a different viewpoint of what America is than you and I. And I believe also that they are the intellectual elites, meaning that they have already said when they were trying to deal with the Ukraine problem with the Russians, Obama was saying, you know, these are tactics that you use in the 20th century. This is the 21st century. We need to sit down and talk about our problems, and we can work them out by sitting across the table. Well, let's see. How well has that worked out with Iran and negotiating on their nuclear stuff? Not too well. In fact, is there any place in the world with the president's diplomatic relations and his national policy and his diplomatic relations has made America more a desirable country than it was when he took over? I don't think so.
No, it
doesn't. He hasn't had a diplomatic success since he's been president. That's one of the reasons why he desperately wants to have Cuba so he can have a diplomatic success. But his lead negotiator stands up in front of the press and says, "I have no idea where this is going. We're just here." I mean, it's the idea of it's just like you might have heard the president's State of the Union speech. He talked about increasing the taxes on the wealthy people. And one of the pieces that came out was he wanted to change the 459 college savings plans, which the middle class desperately tries to use to save money to send their children to college, because there's a tax break. You don't pay any taxes on the money if you use it for education for children. And he decided that he wanted to tax it because they needed the source of income. Well, he pulled that back yesterday. So
right,
I guess
he
we're
did.
not going to do that.
I guess not.
And so it's an example of the mental games that are being played. Whether it's, I won't call a terrorist or Islamic terrorist because, quote, there is no such thing as far as I believe. And because he thinks it must be right.
That's true.
And it doesn't matter to him that other people don't think it's right.
And that's exactly right. And you know, he does have a reputation for not at all schmoozing, talking, whatever, call whatever you want, networking with Congress or the House or people. He sits in there with Valerie Jarrett, and it's them, each other, and he doesn't listen to, I'm sure, many of his military staff. I mean, because I'm sure they cannot be directing him this way. Their hair's got to be on fire, and it's like anything else. It's like having a bad boss. You know, you've had bad, or you've had bad boss. I've had bad bosses. Sometimes boss gets fired. Sometimes you quit. Whatever it is. I mean, you know, and it's like we have a bad boss. That's how I look. We have a bad commander-in-chief boss, and they run circles around him because, you know, Iran and Iraq, and it doesn't matter, Syria, Lebanon, they know, you know, that he's based on political correctness. They're going to play him and play him and play him because that's what his legacy wants to be. The finest political correctness president wants to be his legacy. But what his legacy, in my opinion, is going to be, We're going to be getting, something's going to happen, God forbid, in the next 2 years, and people are going to remember Obama, Mr. Politically Correct. They took out 5,000 people or 50,000 people or 300,000 people. That's going to be his watch. And that I can't believe, but you're right, he's so delusional. He really believes everything he does. It doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter that 70% of people didn't want Obamacare. He was going to shove it down your throat, my throat, and lie, cheat, steal. You can keep your own doctor, bubble your own plan, blah, blah, and everyone knew in there that right out of the box, 4, 5, 6 million were going to lose their insurance. They didn't care because he thought it was right because that's his view. Yeah. That's his view. Screw you. We're going to pay for the ones that don't have it. Here, did you hear him say? Correct me. Everybody should have 7 sick days off. What do you mean everyone deserves 7 sick days? If you're sick, you're sick. And if you give them 7 sick days, guess what's going to happen? They're going to take 7 sick days, even if they're not sick. because you're handing it to them. He doesn't understand.
He doesn't understand. But the problem is that he, because of, I believe, his narcissistic tendency, if he thinks it, then it must be true.
I agree with you.
Therefore,
it is true.
It is true and must be the best thing for the country. But there's, I bet you, in the last 6 years, as they've sat in the White House, in the West Wing, and they've talked about all these various programs, I'll bet you there has never been this question put out by anybody to the president. What are the unintended consequences of what we do? Nobody's asked that question. And you can't have an effective ruler if he doesn't have somebody who says to him, Mr. President, that's wrong.
Well, every single action, everything you do, we're chatting right now, everything you do, if you do something, everything has a consequence. You know what I mean? I mean, everything we do.
I have 4 sons that are all grown. And if they were growing up as children, that's one of the things that I told them, especially if they got in trouble.
Right.
Everything you do in life has consequences. Sometimes it's today, sometimes tomorrow, and sometimes it may not be for years. But everything has a consequence, good or bad.
That is correct. But you're right. And whether you're right, and it's a good way to read, but that's true. I'll never forget raising for my kid. He'd do something wrong. He'd say, let's say he got grounded. His always used to nail me, Dad, it was worth it. I would just laugh. I'll never forget that. Who says that to a dad? Let's say he did something, I grounded for 2 weeks. Give me the phone. Give me the car. Give me the IP. Whatever number was. He goes, you know what, Dad? It was worth it. Go fight that. But the bottom line is, but you're right. Every action has a consequence, and he doesn't see it that way. Everything he does doesn't. It's going to be this way, and he'll find a way. He's such a narcissist. I think if we do get attacked, he'll find a way not to blame himself. Like, gee, maybe I should have been. No, it'll be some. We did this and we did that. All right, Dan, I got to let you run. We're going to hit a break. It was nice chatting with you, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on.
Okay. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Dan Perkins, author, big thinker. I love it. The Brotherhood of the Nile Series. Dan Perkins at Sanibel.com in New Jersey.